Welcome to Blue Jay Banner Postgame Show. We're live here at Let It Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha, where we witnessed I don't know what to call it.
Thrashing.
Pretty bad. Sorry about that, guys. Pretty bad effort by our Blue Jays tonight. Welcome to the show. Tim Kruger here along with Austin Chapman. Thanks for joining us. If you hit that subscribe and like button, I'd really, really appreciate it. It helps us out so much. Tell all your friends and neighbors about the show, and want to keep building this as big as possible. After tonight, though, I don't know what's going to happen.
I think right now we're just trying to get our young guys playing. We're trying to get some experience from our young fellas. It's going to be one of those years, similar to my senior year.
You think so?
I think so. It's just kind of passing up.
Even though you have, you guys didn't, you had
right,
and then you had guys that played roles, Artino, Dingman.
Yep.
You had a transfer.
Yep.
But everybody else is just basically new.
Well, that's kind of how, in my eyes, that's kind of how I see it.
Here,
right?
you had a guy who played D1 basketball, so that's similar to the transfer you guys had.
Right.
But you have the Big East three-time Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I hear.
Who has not played up to par so far.
Right.
And then you get two freshmen, no doubt about that. But you got a senior point guard who's played a lot.
Right.
Who I thought first half played very well, second half turned it over way too much.
Absolutely.
And
37 minutes though again, right? So he's playing at a high clip. His ankle's probably still not 100%, but 21 points, like you said, he did have 3 turnovers, which were probably costly at the time, but he's got a lot of weight to carry. Especially if Cox.
And he was carrying it. And I think back to your point we talked about last game about you getting tired, not getting enough.
Right.
I think in the second half we saw that he's putting up some threes, and they just he just didn't have his legs underneath him.
Absolutely. I think I don't know what I saw again, but I thought he put up at least 12 of them from the arc. So. Launching them a little bit, but, we're kind of in the need that we do need those shots. But,
it's 5 of 12, which, that's a good percentage. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with Andrews 3 for 6, but then, Kalk was 2 for 5 for crying out loud. But we got nothing out of the bench. Trout was 1 for 4, Green was 0 for 1, Neal was 1 for 3, and Mason continues to struggle 0 for 2. So, that's only 2 made threes out of the rest of the group.
Yep. And I think as you see his minutes played, I think it's tough right now. I think we're trying to figure out who's going to be that 3, right? Missing Pop. It's tough right now. Trout 17, Green 16, Shane 15, Mason 17. So playing around the same, similar minutes, but we're trying to find that guy who's actually going to step up and be ready for some play.
Yeah, here's the problem right now is every time we go to Ty or Shane, it just kills us on the offensive end. We get basically no offense from those two guys.
Yeah.
We get some defense, get some ball handling with Ty, but we just don't get any offense. So, all right, so then if that's the case, then if you're subbing him in for Ashworth, then Jemiah's got to go nuts. Kalk's got to play well. One of your 4s has to be hitting some shots.
Yeah.
And that's just not – that's asking a lot, number one. Number two, it's not happening.
It's not happening. And we're also – I think we're trying to find our identity, which we don't truly know. I think the first game was a bit – I don't want to call it a fluke, but, I think players kind of started getting away from – giving the ball to Cock, running through Cock, and now trying to find their own room to play and be known here. So it's tough right now. I think we're all trying to find our identity and how we're going to play as a team. But as you said, when Ashworth is kind of coming out and getting those minutes for Shane, more or less we don't have individuals attacking. We don't have individuals pressing. And
tonight our defense was pretty atrocious for the most part tonight.
Yeah.
Look, Georgetown shot the ball unbelievable tonight. They haven't shot like that in 2 years. They could not miss tonight.
I think I told you last the last time we were on, that every time when somebody plays Creighton, we have the X on the back, no matter where we're.
And the other thing is I know we're not being aggressive on the offensive board or defensive board enough and so forth, but it just seems to that ball bounces oddly for the other team. It just we're just in one of those spells right now where the ball's not going our way. By the way, so we're kind of delaying here because we're trying to see if we got an outcome in this UConn-Xavier game, but it did go to overtime. UConn has hit a 3 to go up by 3, and I just said, hey, I know it looks pretty dark for us right now, but UConn loses at home to Xavier. Then things wouldn't look so dark because they lost on their home floor. We at least lost on the road, man.
We got a fighting chance still. Man. It's early, right?
So it's one game, but the one game results were not good. And this is going to probably be a bad loss because Georgetown this will be a quad 3 at least loss. So. That doesn't look good on your resume.
Knows, though? Cooley might have those guys playing well at home now.
Maybe.
Like and playing at DC and playing on that court. It's got ice underneath.
We would sure hope so, right?
Like, it's kind of a tough place to play in some regards, but
because nobody's there.
Nobody's there. You're playing on ice. There's a few things, but I keep trying to make excuses for the guys, and right now we're just not producing.
I got to ask this. So you brought this up, so I got to ask you this while I think about it. So the coldest I think I ever was, and I was coming down with something, was at a Valley tournament.
Okay.
And it was like a very, sometimes we can get, usually we have crappy weather when the Valley tournament went on, but sometimes you get those nice warm days. This is like an 80-degree day, and I'm sitting courtside on press row, and I was freezing because they had to turn up the temperature on the ice to keep it
I'll give you
frozen.
One of the nuances. That's generally
I thought to
something.
myself, man, how did the players deal with this?
That's something generally most people don't take into in account. Honestly, when you're playing on top of ice, generally it's a hard place to play. Ball's a little harder. Feet take a little while to warm up. Body and joints, it takes a little bit to get moving. Especially if you're sitting on the bench a little bit. So to Trout and Green's point, that doesn't do you too well when you're sitting over there and it's a little bit chilly and you got to come up and you got joints that are pretty cold. But that's not really an excuse right now. We're just not playing at the highest level.
But it is something, you're right. People don't ever think about it. I'd never thought about it until that day I sat there and I was just in ice. I remember I went back to my hotel room, pulled up all the covers, turned up the heat as high as would go in my room, and just laid there all night long because I was so cold. I was just frozen.
Yeah. As a player, going into those games, knowing you're playing on those type of courts, generally I would try to take the hottest shower I could possibly take, before we headed out. But still, it's just tough, man. Trying to get that body temperature up to regular and get that adrenaline going. It takes a little bit to really get running.
Hey, so we just want to mention our sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care and Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Thanks for their sponsorship. You'll hear more about them later. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Tell all your friends about this. Have them hit the subscribe and like button. It helps us out a ton. As I did mention, CareMinders Home Health Care. When you're in need of care for your injured or ill loved ones, reach out to CareMinders Home Health Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many, many years of experience, and you'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care. So give me a call, 402-532-1383, or for your peace of mind right now so you know what they offer, go to caremindersnebraska.com. You can check out everything there, and so when the time comes that you need their services, you will know what they need, and that's caremindersnebraska.com. All right. We'll just update you. 3.5 to go in overtime, 81-80. They're doing some review, which is probably going to take another hour. So we have a chat already. Rob is chatting in. And I think this is probably, if maybe not topic 1, certainly topic 2 or 3.
Okay.
Thoughts on Kalk? Yeah. Injuries holding him back. See no explosiveness at all. Looks tired, overwhelmed, settling for jumpers. No lift when he tries to make a move down low. I would not disagree with what Rob's assessment was there tonight.
Yep.
I don't know that he settled for jumpers. He had wide open threes, and he made 2 of them. So, I mean, shot 2 for 5 from 3. That's not horrible.
Yep.
But he did look like he had no explosiveness on the offensive end. He looked like he wasn't ready for their physicality because he got shoved around a little bit. Okay. It looked like he wasn't ready for their defensive intensity because he got some shots blocked he normally wouldn't have blocked. Yes, I don't know. Something seemed off
question,
today,
man. And you know, I like to give the best hope that I can for my guys, but we're playing athletes, right? We're in the Big East. You know, we're no longer in the Valley. So night in, night out, regardless of being, you know, top team or the bottom of the pack, you're gonna get the best athletes, you know, at the end of the day. And I don't like to call it soft, man. This is just kind of more or less a challenge for the guys that here, but at times we look a little soft, you know.
We do.
And for that individual being the person that he is, it's hard for me to just say, like, why wouldn't you just back this guy and throw him through the back, you know, the bottom of the rim and go ahead and put 2 hands on the rim.
I hear you. And that's what a lot of our fans are wondering.
Yeah, you know, and I think he's just kind of moving, you know, at a pace that generally he's playing at his own pace, where right now he needs a little urgency.
Yeah,
you know, and
I think so. I think
really,
and I think that spreads to the whole team. I think
absolutely. I would say Ashworth though is playing to that. He's playing to a high caliber. And a high
he
level.
is, but he's got to handle the ball better and know when he can dribble in between 2 guys, when he can't. He's turning it over.
But right now he's got to make something out of nothing.
And that's what he's feeling like he's got to do.
And I think right now he's pressing a little more than what he potentially should, but like he has to. And so I'm not too mad at that, right? Like he's granted his 3 turnovers, and you know, it's like, where's that going to come from right now? As we already kind of explained, Shane and Ty not being able to more or less produce on that end. So when he is there, 37 minutes, right? There's only 3 of those other minutes that basically somebody else has got to be out there doing his job. But I think right now he's got to do what he's got to do, right? Jemiah, like you said, 5 points.
Jemiah was pretty much AOL.
You know,
I mean, he was there, but I mean, it just wasn't working for him. He wasn't getting to the hole. When he was missing some bunnies. Other times he was getting rejected down low, getting shoved around a little bit. Yep. He wasn't consistent enough. His shot isn't consistent enough from the outside to make some hay. I agree with you on Cog. I think as a team as a whole, though, we're just like tonight. You hate to say, well, they didn't look ready to play. You know, that's just an easy, lazy comment, right? Yeah. But that's the way it looked. Yeah. And usually when you see that, it's maybe not they weren't ready to play. They just weren't aggressive and ready for Georgetown's aggressiveness.
That's fair. And as you kind of already touched on, no fans in the stands is tough, coming off of what they're used to being their second, away game. That
second away game, right?
I think some of that more or less gives these guys some energy as well, too.
Sure.
To be able to kind of have that to ride off of. And we don't have that. You have to create that internally. And right now, I just think it's tough right now because they just don't know their identity, you know. And so everybody's out there kind of pressing a little much, and when Jemiah has to press too much, I don't think that's good for him. Because then he's a little sped up, And when he's able to play at his pace and play at a smooth pace, that's when he's at his best. And I just think right now everybody's out there trying to do maybe a little more than what they actually should, when we should probably just be throwing it into the post.
There was a series in the second half where we're down 20, but there was finally what I call McDermott offense. Ball movement, inside, outside, around the perimeter, back around, a screen set, boom. Trout wide open, and Trout had time and took his time. Boom, three-pointer. We hadn't seen that all night long. That's our offense.
Well, you gotta give up to Cooley, man.
Cooley
and
no
Mac
doubt,
being best friends and this, that, the other. So there's no telling what the game plans have shared, but he knows how to defend Mac, right?
Absolutely.
And not having the weapons that we were basically playing to have. I think this was more or less one of those easier game plans for Cooley too, to more or less lock down on his game plan and make sure of, we're going to hold these players here. We'll allow Ashworth to do what he's going to do. But if we shut down Calk, they can't win, right? And I think that's huge for us right now. If Calk doesn't score 17 plus, then we're not really going to be in games.
I was impressed with the Sorber tonight. I mean, I hadn't seen him play that well all season. He really played well inside. But again, he had 8.6 rebounds. But again, and then he kind of hurt his ankle late in the game. But again, there was that point where they just couldn't miss to start out the game for the first 8-9 minutes.
Yep.
But then they went in a drought, and we did not take advantage. That's kind of where we lost the game, even though it was like a 1-2 point. And we actually took the lead there for a little bit. We could have spread that out to 6, 8, 10 real easy. But we had some turnovers. We had some bad possessions. We had a lot of missed jumpers at that point. That's kind of when you need to grab that game on the road. Okay,
I hear that.
You took their best shot. Now you need to do it, and we did not do it. And now you're in a dogfight. And then we went in drought into halftime, and then out of halftime, and boom! Next thing you know, it's double-digit deficit.
And if you go and look at stat sheet, right? Ashworth was the only one that was actually more or less knocking down some shots. At the end of the day, and so. Some of that of minutes played could be some of that, right? Usage, and just kind of being at a level that he wasn't, at peak. But, production has to come from Calk as well. And, there's no beating around the bush. That's really where we need production now. We don't have Pop. Right now, Jemiah is a hit or miss too, so Calk has to be a staple, as I kind of touched on.
Has to be consistent.
He has to.
Night out.
He has to where it's 17 plus 8, 10 rebounds. That should be more or less a given, especially for a player of his caliber. And I definitely know, somebody of his caliber, he's kicking himself, and there's games that he wants back, but I want him to really look in the mirror too. Because at the end of the day, this is last season, right? And I don't want him to regret this. And I think there's going to be some things that, he'll look back on and say, hey, I probably could have went a little bit harder there. Not only for my guys, but just for me, right? And if he plays at a higher level, they potentially.
Right. Sure.
The game looks different. I'll say that.
Well, and then you just look at Fred with his limited minutes. He got 5 points, and Fred looked way more comfortable out there than Calk was, and played better. I don't know what the deal when I looked at the score. They somehow took a bucket away from Xavier, and then from that point on, it's been all UConn. UConn kind of running them now. They're up 7 with only 20 seconds to go. So they're going to roll away with it. They're going to escape with a home overtime victory. But I would think, if this is a Xavier team for the second year in a row, lost their starting 4 and 5 for the season, which has been crazy. I don't know how Sean Miller, we think we're snake bit sometimes by the injuries. My goodness. And yet they came out with a really wonderful effort tonight on the road at UConn, tough place, and gave them everything they got. So there again, that just shows you, we're kind of thinking, well, there's going to be top 3 teams and everybody else is not good. Now we're looking at it like, wow, maybe there's going to be some battles here.
Well, it's giving us a preview, man. I think Big East is just back to somewhat being Big East. You got, like I said, there's just going to be players at every school, no matter what it is. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road. We got some, uphill battle right now, but hopefully
I would say so.
Turn
Rob, kind of piggybacking on our Calk talk, said it would be a lot easier for Calk if there were more than 2 other scoring threats.
Yeah.
Someone agree with that?
I mean, I agree with that, but also you score 49 on opening night. So, granted, it was against, the individuals it was against, but right now we're asking you to score 20 plus, right? So, not only do you need to be a little more aggressive, but you also just got to make sure, you're doing everything you can. You're bringing the energy, you're being vocal. And I think that's part of it. Right now, he's not being as vocal as what we kind of saw early in the year. I don't know what that has to deal with, but as far as just being, the guy that more or less is getting the team going. I think that more or less gets him going too at the end of the day. So rhythm right now is off for everybody. Definitely not having an individual that they thought they were going to have. Him playing extended amount of minutes that maybe he didn't think he was going to have to play. It's tough to say. And I don't really want to see us go to two bigs, but maybe that's something that might help his game, in a way.
Really? You think so?
There's the potential of him playing with him and Fred. I think that might make a little more sense. That makes it a little bit easier, on his end, to where he's not second guessing, wondering if a double is coming from the backside, wondering if the guard's sitting off top. And that's what's going to happen over the next couple games, right? Because teams are going to stop doubling him, right? They're going to stop sending, the third, fourth guy, and just you're going to play him straight up, and then if he scores, he scores. And he's going to have, some larger games that will get his confidence going in the right direction. But as far as just leadership on the team, I think that's a big Ashworth, thing to kind of just step in and talk to Calk and just make sure that his confidence is still there. And I don't think it's really been there. Since the Nebraska game,
he's been kind of off. Wavering. Yeah. He had that big, huge first game, and then everybody was like, "Whoa, look at this!"
Wavering. Right.
And then, and then it's just the injury came, and then he's never been the same since. But that's got to get turned around. But the problem I would see would be on the defensive end with Calk and King on the floor at the same time, because we got certain teams with fours like tonight. Tonight it might have worked out because their four wasn't super athletic, but you get into some teams with some fours that are like Caravan, like. That'd be a tough ask for Calk to go out there and guard him.
Nah, I hear you. And it's just trying to find.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear what you're trying to say, and I'm sure Mac is sitting there looking for all these answers too. Like, what can we do to unlock that 2-3 right now with the five guys? How can we get three of them to perform on any one night? Tonight we had one. McAndrew played, scored pretty well, but again. He's getting shoved around too much on the defensive end and in the boards. And then the other thing, of course, is, Jason, I thought, played okay. He gave us a little spark. Trout didn't give us much again. Mason didn't give us much again. And Jemiah didn't give us anything. So we're going 1.5 to 4-5. Okay, we got to be like 3 to 5 there.
Yep.
And until that happens, it's going to be really, really tough. And again, can we get Fedor eligible? That'll help a lot, especially with depth.
That's fair. I mean, I don't want to hang our hat on that one, though. We got some guys right now that are active. So,
but
next man up was
they're not. I know, but the next man up's not there.
It's not there. It's not there. So
it's not there.
And I also think confidence isn't there, right?
Right.
I don't believe confidence has been there. Even Kansas was more or less it was at home, and you're riding off this adrenaline rush.
Well, we got two in a row at home now. Villanova, definitely a middling in the Big East, and St. John's, one of the top 4 in the Big East. Right. So you've got a chance to get a couple of really solid wins here. Get to 2-1. Then head into, let's see, you play on a Tuesday, and then you're going to head into Marquette on a Friday.
Yeah.
So, but at least you gain a little bit of confidence. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
I think that's what they need.
Everybody thought, Marquette's going to blow out Butler, and here we are halfway through the first half. Butler's got a 4-point lead, so it's the Big East, right?
Yeah,
it's conference play. But I do, I kind of agree with you. Tonight was, like we were talking before we came on air, a couple things. One, it did kind of remind us of that home game you guys, when you were a senior, that you played at home against Georgetown. I think it was 66-40. We barely got over 40 because we could not throw it in the ocean. Kind of similar, other than Ashworth and McAndrews tonight. I don't remember Georgetown. Georgetown didn't score as easily as they did tonight, obviously. The other thing we were talking about, interestingly enough, was the flex offense that Ed was so famous for and would just grind us down when we played him at Providence. and he hasn't played a lot. And you talked to one of the coaches yesterday, and they said, "No, he doesn't have his guys to run that out." Well, tonight he did run some of it, and hey, they got a couple of easy buckets off it too. So it was kind of funny to see that. Like, wow, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. He has. You could say he has Mac's card, and Mac might have his as well, but. Yeah, he just kind of, he knew what the game plan for a little bit.
I would say if I was going to, the one coach to me, when you say, is there one coach that gives Mac a lot of trouble? I'd certainly say Dutch at San Diego State. And they're good friends too.
Fair.
Very good friends. That to me seems to be the team because you watch them and they'll shoot 20% from three, 20% overall. They play us. They get great looks. They get great shots. Yeah. Add a little bit too, but then we've had some nice games against Providence. We blew them out in the Big East tournament one year. Obviously, Doug's final game blew them out. So we've had our way with them a little bit there too. So it's been kind of back and forth. Obviously, had our way with Georgetown. For the most part, Max kinda. I knock on wood here. This is dangerous territory to talk about, but. He's kind of had his way with Hurley, really, for the most part.
With who?
Hurley. He's been like, I think he's 5
okay, that's fair.
He's 5-2. I think he's 5-2 against Hurley.
Yeah. All right.
All
right. I don't want to get too deep in that.
No, but you know what I mean. Like
I don't want to speak on that one. Just quite yet.
He's held his own with Hurley better than most. Let's put it that way.
I hear it.
But anyway. Thanks for listening. By the way. Hit that subscribe and like button. I know we got some new people joining right now. I just want to talk about our other sponsor, Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Great sponsor this year. Thank you so much for joining us, Discount Window and Door. Call them today, 402-532-1383. When it comes to enhancing your home's beauty, comfort, and energy efficiency, trust the expertise of the best window company in Omaha. With a commitment to excellence and dedication and customer satisfaction, their reputable window companies offer a wide range of products and services tailored to meet your unique needs. And they have a trusted reputation of years and years in the industry. So give them a call today, 402-532-1383. I got new windows in my home, and I'm so happy through the entire process from start to finish. They did a fabulous job. That's Discount Window and Door of Omaha. We got another chat. Rob says, all games are important, but how important is the game on Saturday against Nova? Win and the Waters get a little calmer, give us some confidence. Yeah. I'd say it's...
One, it's home. You got to protect home always.
Yes.
But as far as just confidence for the guys, I think they feel comfortable at home. So losing that one against, a team that's middle of the pack right now, especially in the conference, that would be tough.
That'd be tough.
And more or less,
you just lost to one of the. You just lost to a team that's most definitely going to play on Wednesday night in New York.
Yeah.
You can't lose to a middle of the pack team at home if you have any kind of designs on being a factor in the Big East this year. Right. And even if you don't say winning the Big East, you'd want to be one of the top 3-4 teams in the Big East. You to go 0-2 and lose one of those at home, and have the other one be a blowout on the road. Oof, that
kind of puts us in a tough position.
Yeah. So especially going to a really good St. John's team. And then plus you're taking 10 days off there too. Mm-hmm. You're taking your Christmas break. Mm-hmm. You've almost got to come away with that win going into that Christmas break. So I don't want to say it's a must win, but boy, it's sure up there. And you hate to say it this early in the season, but and you don't want to be in that position where you have to say it this early in the season. But it is a crucial game Saturday. And we can all go in with our heads down and feeling horrible about it, or we can go in and really support this team, and that's what we got to do on Saturday. We have to have a big home crowd.
Absolutely.
We've all seen what Dixon can do against Kalk. Step out, hit those threes. He hits them about 30% clip against everybody else. Us, he seems to hit 50. But so we know what to expect. Okay, so we got to have a huge effort.
Absolutely, and I guess for me, I just really want to see Kalk take full advantage of things, right? Having a height advantage over majority of the individuals. I think this is a big game for him. Not to put a lot of pressure there, but I just think this is a big game for him to really prove to us who he is, as a player.
Yeah.
Not only on the offensive end, but defensively. And also just from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah.
I think he really needs to kind of just take the hold, being able to kind of go and choose some guys out when he needs to, and I think some of that, too, is just kind of being too friendly in that to where right now we got to win games, We
do.
And kind of being buddy-buddy out there isn't going to work,
Yeah.
So I think he needs to.
And the other thing, too, is like if he can't get up for this game against Dixon, then this is a guy he's had battles with for 4 years. Yep. He's got to know what's coming. They've each had their way, and
Absolutely.
he's got it. If he doesn't, I'd be shocked if he doesn't come out and have it. And again, like we talked about last game, though, again tonight, we're trying to get that ball. I mean, it's like a 3rd and 15 play in the NFL where the quarterback just throws it up a 50-50 ball. And that's what we're doing. We can't do that. We can't just give him a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
Because half the time they're going to be turnovers, and we can't. Tonight we got to take care of the ball better. I mean, let's there's other ways to get him the ball. And if teams are taking that away from him, obviously, there's going to be some other opportunities for some other guys, and those guys just have to step up and get it done.
That's fair.
Simple as that. If they don't, it's going to be a long year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long year.
Yep. And to that point, like you said, trying to force something that's not there a lot of times, 16 turnovers. Some of that just comes down to film, right? Being able to see, hey, lob's not there, that guy in the corner is there, the guy raising is there. Some of that just is just some reads that are maybe being missed and as fast as play, because I think guys are pressing a little more than they probably should.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to take over worst call of the night. There weren't, when you get beat by 24, there's not a lot of worst calls. But I thought the play where Sorber hurt his ankle and got rolled up on by Kyle, if you watch the replay of that actually should have been a technical foul against him, because he did the hook and hold. He drugged Kalk down. Like there was a rebound. There was a Georgetown player on this time. Sorber and Kalk were kind of in a battle already engaged, but he had Kalk hooked. His arm was inside of Kalk, and then they went down, and then Kalk rolled to kind of, as he went down and twisted the guy's ankle, and then they got the rebound. But technically, by the rule, that's a hook and hold. Yeah. Should have been a technical foul. Wouldn't have made a difference to the game. I'm just saying they kind of missed that call.
That's fair.
And the Georgetown fans are screaming, yelling, there should have been a foul on Kalk, but Kalk got pulled down there.
Yeah.
I did, if it was a good call, I liked the 1-3-1. That kind of threw them off their game a little bit. I think we ought to do more of that and put Kalk in the middle back there and let him take the paint and let everybody. Now, Georgetown did do a good job of getting it in that 15-foot range, which is what they're supposed to do on that, especially when the ball rotates and that middle guy in the 1-3-1 moves. But, at that point, we'll live with that 15-footer, right?
Yeah. As analytics speak to, that mid-range shot is something that you live with. But right now, we just got to buckle down. I think 33% from the free throw line, not great.
Well, McAndrew missed 3. He got fouled on a 3 and missed all of them.
Kalk missed all of his as well. So we also didn't shoot too many. Only shot 9. So,
Max. What's Max series? Make more than the other team shoots. Well, that didn't happen tonight.
It did not.
We were 5.
3 of 9.
Oh, I'm looking at Georgetown. They were 5 of 7.
3 of 9. We
were 3 of 9.
We shot 2 more than they did.
So we did. Yeah, we didn't come close to making as many as they attempted. Yeah.
But we're just kind of we're
and again, that points to what happened tonight. The refs let everybody play.
Yeah, this is the Big East, man.
And then they threw out the whistles late in the second half. They started calling everything, but up until then, Kalk was getting mauled in there a bunch of times. They didn't call anything. But
you got to think, man. He's at Georgetown, and who's their 3-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, right? Yeah. So it's just some of that too, right? You're kind of gonna get some attitudes that maybe you didn't know you're coming into, but you still got the X in your back. I don't know if some people want that record to be broken, but you got to prove it, and I think right now that's all it is. That's all that's there, and right now they really have to prove it.
Thanks so much again for listening. If you got some more chats, throw them in here right now. Whoa. So Alabama is playing at North Dakota tonight.
Okay.
Because of Grant, help me out here. Their big guy is from Minot, North Dakota, I believe. So that's why
I understand.
Oates took the team, and they're playing in Grand Forks. North Dakota's 4-8 on the season, okay, in the Summit League, okay. Now, granted, they go and get some bye games too, but still, 4-8 is not good. They're beating Alabama right now. That place has got to be going nuts.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Imagine that
rocking. On the road.
It's got to be going crazy. Anyway.
Guys have different energy at home, right?
Oh, I know, but I mean, just wow. Yeah. I was wondering how bad a beatdown that was going to be, but now. So let's, Villanova's 8-4 on the season. They are 1-0 in the Big East. There they go. They beat, in my opinion, the worst team in the Big East, Seton Hall.
Okay.
79-67. They beat them by 12 at home. They have really not played anybody. They lost to Columbia, the Ivy League. Okay. They lost to their in-city rival, St. Joe's. St. Joe's is very good this year, so that's not really a bad loss. St. Joe's is probably favored. They did lose to a really bad Virginia team. They got beat by 10 by Virginia.
Okay.
And then lost a heartbreaker to Maryland, who's pretty decent.
That's right. Yep.
They did, however, beat Cincinnati, number 14 in the country. They beat them at home in the Big East Big 12 Challenge. Far and away their best win of the season. But they've struggled a lot this year. And
I think it's tough for them right now. Still playing Jay Wright basketball, but don't really necessarily have Jay Wright talent. It's tough to say, being Nova and all, but I think Dixon kind of is out there on his own right now, trying to find the way that really isn't there. So I think we will see a lot of him on Saturday, definitely.
Eric Dixon has over twice as many points as any other player on the team. Yeah. So, it basically is Dixon and everybody else. Right. That's just what it is. Yeah, he scored 283 points so far this year. Mm-hmm. He's hitting 50% from three. Okay. Ouch. Yep. Ooh, we have nightmares of that one.
Yep.
83 from the free throw line. He's got he's shooting 53% from the field.
Okay.
Rebounding, let's see. He's not very good rebounding stats. Only 5.9 a game. So there's maybe something where we can make some hay with him. A guy who's kind of been a good player for them the last couple of years, Longino, is not really producing much this year. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of hurting him too. Turnover-wise, let's see, what do they have? They have, they're not bad. They're not bad on turnovers, but that's kind of just a little breakdown of Villanova. But again, it's Dixon. What I've watched them this year, it seems like it's Dixon, and if he's out of the game for a brief point or not hitting shots like he normally does, they really struggle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what it is, and I think that goes for both sides.
Thanks, Rob. Grant Nelson. I knew it was like a 6-letter last name or a 5-letter. It was an easy name. Grant Nelson.
I think that goes.
I think he's from Minot, North Dakota, which is frankly quite a ways from Grand Forks. But okay. I guess Nate Oates chose North Dakota because they're a lot easier to beat than North Dakota State.
That's fair. So. Yeah.
But at any rate, that was one of our former opponents, Alabama. So Nova this Saturday. Home opener, 3:00 tip. Just an FYI, we will not be doing a post game here. We may do a Zoom version.
Okay.
You and I from our individual homes, the comfort of our homes.
I love it.
We could have Christmas pajamas on or something.
I like that.
Stay tuned to Blue Jay Banner on Twitter. We'll let you know for sure what time that'll be on. It'll probably be about, let's see, game get over about 5, so it'll probably be about 6-ish, where we'll kick that. And it'll kind of be a brief post game, but we won't have any guests, but be Austin and I. But again, we'll have your chats, which will be awesome.
Absolutely.
Give you guys a chance to get home, jump on YouTube, and then can chime in with your chats and questions because they're always great and greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
Too. Just be kind of being able to soundboard from you guys and allowing the players too to hear what you guys are thinking. I think is big.
Do we even award a unsung hero tonight?
I'm going McAndrews still, man. I think right now it's
5 of 8 from 3 tonight.
For him to build confidence is going to be huge for us going forward. And as I kind of touched on, I think it's not yet the passing of the guard, but this is somewhat of trying to get them some experience, right? And I think this is kind of similar to somewhat of Doug's freshman year for him in a way that, they still ended up fighting and making their way to an end and still competing. But, the next 3 years he had were very high level. And that I think that freshman year really kind of set Doug in a really great place to kind of,
He actually had 3 steals tonight.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough. So, Al, the head cheese here at Let It Fly, said, how many steals did we give up tonight? So, I'm going to tell you, we give up 12 steals. That's insane.
That's taking care of the ball, though. 16 turnovers, right?
Yeah.
As a whole,
but 12 steals? That's insane. That's a lot of steals.
Like I said, man, I just think teams are going to come in and try to punk us right
Peavy
now.
had 7. I think he had 3 in about a matter of, we always talk about points off turnovers, which I think is the most ridiculous stat in all of basketball because, so you turn it over, let's say you kick it out of bounds, dribble into the hole. The other team comes down, runs 25 seconds on the shot clock and makes a 3, then that's called a points off turnover. To me, that's not a point off turnover. That was just like if you missed a shot, they came and slowed it down the court.
Well, they added the hockey assist, though, right?
Yeah,
so it's kind of some of that same thing, too,
To me, it's just a ridiculous stat, okay?
I hear you.
But the ones that do count were the ones that Peavy had tonight, where he had 3 in about 5 minutes. They were steals and dunks on each one. Those are... those are the breakaways.
For sure.
The pick 6, as we like to call them. Those are the ones that kill you.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up 2 points now.
Instantly. But also, if you don't get a chance to actually put the ball up at the rim, in my eyes,
right.
That's
so it's really a 4-point turnaround.
Yeah.
Or 5.
Yeah.
Or 5 if you got 3, right?
Right.
Yeah. So those are killers. And that's what we had tonight. We had several of those. There was a couple other guys that went coast to coast too. So, man,
tough sled.
And I think I think it's a learning.
Calk had 2 turnovers himself, so that's.
It was learning for Jackson tonight, playing on the Big East on the road.
Yep.
First time he's ever done that.
And somewhat of a
hopefully he'll be better the next time, but the next time's going to be at Marquette. Thank God it's during Christmas break,
But I'm sure they'll have their fans rocking. That's a tough place to play, regardless of the situation. And, I'm hoping we get some confidence.
I hope we get a great crowd Saturday
home.
because, this is such a football-centric town that with the college football playoffs going on. But at least there's not multiple games. There's only one game at a time. So it's like you can kind of pass that. By the way, you should mention Butler's still hanging in there. They're up by 2 with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Hey, there could be another upset.
Yes, sir.
Could be another upset. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thanks for all the chats and the help out. Thanks, Rob, for giving us the help out on the Grand Nelson. I can't believe it. That's all we did was talk about him last week, and I couldn't remember his name tonight. But as I said, watch our Twitter. I would say probably 80% chance we're going to do one. So just join us. Just pop onto YouTube about 6 o'clock. We'll do a live show there and get that knocked out for you. And you can chat in, and we'll talk about a Jays win. How's that?
That sounds great. I love it. I just need confidence for the boys. That's really what they need.
So finally, before we go, so you were on a team that, obviously came off Doug's senior year, and then we were kind of retooling with 3 guys that were role players, Grizel, Dingman, Artino, yourself, the only starter back. How was that? going through the season and so forth, like, how was that, like, adjusting to that? Like, all of a sudden, like, okay, we're not the big dog here. We can't just roll it out there and win every game's. And if I remember correctly, that year we lost so many 1-2 point games.
I think we led the nation in that. 8 to 9 of them were 1 to 2 point games, but myriad of emotions. Honestly, I think we started the year off pretty well, beat Oklahoma at home, and kind of had a lot of stuff rolling. Had a good game at Nebraska on the road. We just lost some nail biters there that deflates you as a player, at the end of the day, where confidence is huge.
They had a big win in the Big East tournament, though.
We did, but, I don't think we played to the caliber where we had expectations and had goals, but losing 8 out of 9, 1 point game, especially in the Big East, there's not too much you can do there, and, really, I think it just deflated us.
But do you see similarities in this team?
I see a lot of similarities, Ashworth being that senior guard, Kalkbrenner kind of being that senior individual.
Because Roselle kind of came into his own that year, really.
He did, and that's kind of when he started to, finally figure out what those Achilles were going to do for him. But, right now, he can't beat around the bush. Kalk has to be better, at the end of the day. Ashworth is playing to a high level. Kalk more or less has to hold his own. If he's, like I said, if he scores 17 plus and has his 8 plus rebounds, I think we're always in every game because you know what Ash is going to bring. And then Jemiah more or less didn't feel like he probably needs to press as much, right?
Right.
And slows down a little bit, and I think that's kind of when his games opens up a little bit. But right now we need a lot more from Mason. And playing in a new role and this, that, the other, but
let's see him take it to the hole. He's got some lanes to go to the hole. He's just got to do it. You just got to go in there. If you get a block, you get a block. But your chance are you going to get fouled there?
Gonna get fouled. You're also 6'8", 6'9", whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Somewhat athletic, so you could jump with most guys. But I think it's confidence. That's really what it is. And basketball is built off, in my eyes, 90% confidence. And I just think they got to see it happen a couple times. And for me, it's McAndrews because it's like regardless, that thing's not really wavering for him. And I think the more and more experience he has, I think once you get to the end of the year, we're going to start seeing a lot of things from him that are real reminiscent of number 3.
Yeah, and if we can get, like you said, get some of the other guys on the team to contribute, then it's only going to make it easier for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. It helps us out a ton. We'll see you again, we said about 6 p.m. Saturday night for another edition of the Blue Jay Banner postgame show. Thanks, everybody.